Okay, everyone, so today we're going to be looking at the quadratic formula. Now, this is just one of the ways to solve a quadratic equation, right? And remember that a quadratic equation looks like this. ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, okay? So this is the standard formula, and everything derives from this. So if we want to solve it by factoring or by completing the square, so forth, this is your main quadratic equation. So what is the quadratic formula? The quadratic formula says that x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Essentially, that if you plug in all these numbers, you're going to be, so a, b, and c, you're going to be given what the value for x is. Okay, so we're going to do some examples to drive the point home. Okay, and remember that this formula, the quicker that you memorize it, the easier your life is going to be, because you're going to use it multiple times, and there's no shortcuts. Just memorize it. It's just going to make your life a lot easier. So let's say you're given 10x squared is equal to 6 minus 9x. Okay, remember that the formula is x is equal to minus b plus or minus root b squared minus 4ac over 2a, okay? Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to rearrange it, okay? So we're going to move everything over. So we basically move this guy, and when you move it over, the sign convention switches, right? So that became a positive, and the 6, you move it over, it became a minus 6. So let's solve this. Now you're given a standard quadratic equation, right? So it's going to be equal to. So first, the most important thing first, you have to arrange what all the letters are equal to. So a is equal to 10, b is equal to 9, and c is equal to minus 9. Now, why is it minus 6? Why is it minus 6 and not plus 6? Because you have to remember that the equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, right? That's your quadratic equation. So in this case, your c, it's like plus minus 6, okay? Because you have to put everything in terms of positives. So that's why your c is negative. Okay, so now we want to substitute everything in. Okay, so your x is equal to minus b, so minus 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 9 squared, minus 4a 10c minus 6 over 2a. Okay, so let's break that down. That's going to be equal to minus 9 plus or minus square root of 321 over 20. Okay, which is equal to minus 9 plus or minus 17.91 over 20. So now, that's, I guess, as much as we can go here. So now, what you're going to do is you're going to show it. So the plus and minus, you're going to break that down. So x1 can be equal to minus 9 plus 17.91 over 20, which is equal to 0.445. Or x2 is equal to minus 9 minus 17.91 over 20, which is negative 1.35. And that's it. Those are your two answers for x. Now, the more problems you do, the easier it's going to become. Okay, the biggest issue here is to always make sure you're watching your signs. Okay, so this is really important, and you always have to put things very, very clearly. Okay, so let's look at the second problem. Second problem looks like this: 3x minus 9x squared is equal to minus 10. Okay, so remember, the first thing you do, if it's not arranged, is to rearrange this to follow this format, ax squared plus bx plus c, because that's going to affect how you use your formula. Remember, it's so important to make sure that you are very clear on what a, b, and c are. So this is just, we'll put the x squared first, so minus 9x plus 3x, and if you move the 10 over, it's going to become positive, right? Perfect. So now let's identify what all the values are. So a is equal to minus 9, b is equal to 3, c is equal to 10. Okay? So now let's solve this. So x is equal to, I'm going to write it out again, minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus, so 3 squared minus 4a minus, right, times 10 over 2 minus 9. Okay, so let's simplify this further. So minus 3 plus or minus of 360 over minus 18. Okay, clear? I hope so. So let's break that down further. So you're going to have minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 360. And you can go step by step here, because the less shortcuts you take, the less likely you are to make a mistake with sign conventions, okay? So basically, you're going to have x1 is equal to minus 3 plus the root of 369 is 19.2, so plus 19.2 over 18, which is equal to negative 0.9, and the x2 is equal to minus 3 minus 19.2 over 18, which is 1.23. And those are both of your possible answers. All right, we'll do one more example. Okay, so this one is more straightforward, but we're going to do a little trick at the end to keep you guys excited. So that is our formula, right? It's in the same format, so we don't have to rearrange. So now we can just go straight to it and assign our letters. So A is basically 1, B is minus 4, and C is 5. X is equal to minus B plus or minus B squared minus 4AC over 2A. So x is equal to, so this is minus b, right? And that's minus 4, so that's just going to be minus into minus, which is positive, plus or minus, minus 4 squared minus 4a is 1, c is 5, over 2 times 1, okay? Plus or minus 16 minus 20 over 2. Okay, so that is basically going to be okay, so this is where the trick is. So you'll notice that there's 4s and a 2, right? So the square root of 4 is 2, and 4 can be divided by 2, so that should balance out, and it can. But we're going to break it down a little bit further. So 4 over 2 is, because essentially you're doing this, right? So this is just going to be 2, right? Now, what's the square root of 4? It's plus or minus 2. But let's break that down into minus 1 times minus 4. Okay? Over 2. Okay? So let's continue this. So it's equal to 2 plus or minus. Now, the root of negative 1 is an imaginary number, right? So it's I. And the root of 4 is 2. So over 2 right? So therefore, you're going to be left with 2 plus or minus I. Now, when you take the square root of 4, it's plus or minus 2, but because there's already a plus or minus here, so that's incorporated. So you're left with I. This is just a little trick, right? I squared is equal to minus 1, therefore I is equal to root -1. Just another way to show something. All right, hope that helps.